This summer, Instacart presents famous summer flavors coming to your front door. Or pool. Or hotel.
Your grocery delivery has arrived, sir.
That was faster than room service.
No violins in the lobby.
Oh, seriously? Anyway, sit back, relax, and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Starring your favorite snacks, drinks, and more. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Rated H for hungry audiences. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours. We're a music podcast that chats to artists, musicians and creatives on their songwriting craft and upcoming projects. I'm your host Simon Fink and welcome to episode 296. We're joined by two of our favourites today on the pod as we welcome back Cat and Calmell to the podcast. The Sydney pop duo released their brilliant mini album, How Do You Feel, last week, and it is a more moodier sound than we're used to from the pair, but it is still such a brilliant collection of songs, some of our favourite Aussie songwriters. So very excited to kind of get into this today. Before we do, however, please make sure you subscribe to this very podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever app that you may use, and ensure that you're following us across all of our socials. Details for all can be found within the show notes of today's episode. Our guest today is Cat and Calmell. The Sydney pop duo burst onto the Australian music scene during COVID and became one of the more fun pop groups Australia has produced in a little while. Always mixing sincerity with sarcasm, the girls had huge hits like Dumbshit and Dramatic, with that second one being synced on the Netflix series You. Fast forward a few years and they're touring with artists like Dua Lipa and Mallrat and flying over to South Korea to make short films. Having released a few singles throughout this year, they returned on Friday with How Do You Feel, which is the group's second collection of songs. While slightly darker and moodier than some of their previous material, these songs showcase the evolution that Cat and Calmell appear to be taking as they enter their 20s and the next stage of their life. This mini album is brilliant and we do advise you check it out. In today's episode, we have both Cat and Calmell joining us on the pod once again to discuss their songwriting methods and how their real-life experiences influence their songs. We discuss creating their short film, its launch, which is in Sydney tonight, and travelling to South Korea to film it. We also talk about their tour with Mallrat and what forthcoming shows for the duo will look like. How Do You Feel is out right now, and we've left links within the show notes on where you can buy the mini album and where you can buy tickets to their short film launch. We also want to say a massive thank you to Miriam at EMI for her help with this episode. Here is our conversation with Cat and Calmell. Won't you hold me too tight, 'cause I might cry. Please welcome back to This Song Is Yours, Cat and Calmell. Ladies, hello, welcome back.
Hi.
Hello.
Pleasure to be here.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you both back on the podcast. I know that we saw you in, I want to say it was April or May when we went record shopping as well in Sydney a number of months ago.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Checks out. But it is always a pleasure to have you on, so thank you for your time, and especially during this time where you've got such an exciting release out. How Do You Feel? The mini album is out now. Congrats on this mini album.
Thank you. It's been a long time coming.
It has.
I was just going to ask, how are you both feeling with it out? I know that some of these songs have been in the works for quite a while now.
Yeah, I think it's more just how personal some of these songs were for us that we just couldn't really fathom other people hearing it. We always knew that we were going to release these songs into a nice, cute little body of work, but we never...
It's just really emotional.
But we never really could fathom people hearing it and listening to the lyrics and kind of interpreting the songs in their own time. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It is super exciting. These songs are, I want to say, they're still very much Cat and Calmell, but there's a different tone to these songs. It seems like Whereas Life of Mine, the previous
darker one,
EP,
perhaps.
yeah, I was going to say it does. There's a lot more minor chords throughout. It might be the darker older sibling, if you will.
Love that.
That's one way to put it, for sure.
Was that an intention when going into it, or did it just kind of organically happen as these songs came along?
I don't think it was necessarily intention to make this one darker. I think it was more just like we felt we had grown a lot just like in our personal lives since the last EP, and it's just kind of like a more mature version exploring sort of like the things that we were kind of talking about but more lightheartedly on the first EP. And then this time we're like, okay, let's cut the shit. This sucks, and like, or like this thing kind of really affected me, and like we're kind of just being a lot more honest about certain experiences that we've had in our lives. And I think we were just more in a place where we felt more ready to like talk about certain things. And then I think naturally, because some of the subject matter of what we're talking about is a little darker, the songs just kind of turned out darker. But yeah, it wasn't like an intentional thing of like, let's make like a more darker, moody kind of project. I think we were just depressed.
Well, look, firstly, I hope you guys are okay. Hopefully it's nothing to be overtly concerned about. But we hope you're okay. These songs are gorgeous. Obviously, as you kind of said, they've been born from a place of like real life experiences. And they are like a little bit more, let's say, darker or moody in terms of their subject matter. Were you surprised, I guess, when you began writing these songs, and who was the first person, I guess, to bring some of these lyrics that are a bit more honest, a bit more moody to the table?
Well, it's funny you said this was kind of like the older sibling, because I kind of feel like this project was like a continuation of like the last project, where we're kind of talking about very similar things and similar life events that happened, good and bad, mainly bad. So I think we still had these like feelings about these certain things heavy on our hearts. So we still wanted to talk about it, but like Kat said, like we've grown heaps since our first EP, and we just have kind of a different, more mature perspective on these things. So I think it wasn't all like very intentional, like let's write about what we did. It was all just kind of natural and what we were feeling at that time, which is why it's like so fun, like making these projects and writing together, because we really just are using these songs as like our own personal little diary, and we overshare to our listeners, and that's how it's always going to be. So I feel like the next project, if we haven't gotten over what the hell has happened like over the last few years, we're just going to keep writing about it. And when we get over it, it's going to be like the summer, the album of the summer, you know? It's going to be like so fun and so positive. But right now we're not there yet. We're still very sad.
Look, this mini album has just come out, so we'll gladly sit with these songs for another extended period of time. I know that when we caught up in April or May, I think you guys had just moved in together at that point, if I'm correct.
This is she.
Beautiful.
This is the apartment.
Gorgeous abode, by the way.
Not the Macca's bag. In the background. Yeah.
We do know how to cook. Don't look at that.
From this camera angle, I actually could not see what it was, so you could have gotten away with just a...
Thank God. It could have been like organic, grosser produce type of thing.
From my perspective, it is. Let's say it is for now. Has living together, I guess, changed the way that you guys collaborate with one another and songwrite with one another? Has that helped the process? Has it hindered the process? Is it the same?
It really is. It really is just like when like you and your sibling move out of home and you kind of just run amok. And it definitely is like a lot more fun, like being able to make content while we're at home and we don't have to travel an hour like back and forth to like hang out with each other. It's just like one big sleepover featuring sometimes making content, and you know what I mean? But I think in the last like 6 months that we've been together, it's been that kind of like period where we're putting everything together for the project. So it's been a lot of like creative arts and crafts and content making and
more
event
behind the
planning.
scenes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more
really
logistical. Awesome. But I think it's also interesting that, like, I don't know, like moving out together for the first time and then coinciding with the project release. And it's also both of our first times living out of home. So it does feel like a new chapter in every aspect of our lives. So we're also still, I think we expected to like move out together and then immediately know how to be like people in their early 20s living out of home for the first time. And we quickly realized that like, it takes time to figure it out. And like, I'm like, oh, like maintaining a baseline level of just like healthy, clean living and like keeping your space clean, making sure you're actually eating 3 meals a day is so much more effort than I had ever previously anticipated. So it's like a lot of like us just figuring out how to like be human beings, being like self-sufficient as well while this project is coming out. So it's been really nice because like, I feel like it coincides with a lot of the topics that we discussed as well on the project of just trying to find yourself and figure your shit out. And it's like kind of funny that like now that we've written this project and it's coming out, we're still actively trying to figure our shit out while a project about us figuring our shit out is also coming out. So yeah.
That's very fair. Honestly, that continues into the late 20s and early 30s as well. So I look forward to it.
And I've heard, and I'm looking forward to that.
It's never ending, is it?
The forthcoming music that might come from this, I look forward to that, whether it's about the organic bag of veggies or whatever you decide to do when living out of home. I'm sure it's going to be good.
The increasing cost of living, that's going to be definitely heavy on our hearts.
Let's sing about it.
I would love to, just to pivot, I would love to talk about the content creation that you kind of spoke of, because this EP is not just, mini album is not just a collection of songs. There is a short film involved as well, which I believe you guys got to film in both Sydney and in South Korea as well.
Correct.
That's true.
You heard it here first, yeah.
How was that? How was that experience?
When I say it was like we made a movie, like it really was, but we made a movie with like our best friends and it was a really awesome time. I think like with this project in mind, we wanted it to be as like vulnerable, visually exciting and real as possible. And it was really awesome that we kind of worked in an environment with, it was just a really nice safe space where we just had all of our friends and we were free to just talk about whatever we wanted, shared whatever idea we had, and it was like a really nice, awesome experience. And going to Korea was an experience. We both had many status conditions. I did have a raging UTI when I went there. It was my first one, and I had to go to hospital like the second or third night we were there, and our translator / kind of like camera assistant went with me to the hospital, and like it was crazy. Like,
let's just say they got really close really quickly.
Me and Jenny are like this now. Mm-hmm. So now looking back at these videos, it's like a little time capsule of who I was, you know, like in Korea, and it's a bit triggering, but I think all that aside, like it really was such a fucking awesome experience, and I'm really happy with how it came out and what we got to explore while we made that video. And we do have our launch party tomorrow. Oh, sorry, we do have our launch party tonight. So there's going to be like a small little intimate number of people watching that short film for the first time, which is really exciting and kind of scary.
It's going to be a trip.
It's going to be a trip and a half, yeah.
Well, if social media is anything to judge by, I think there's a lot of excitement for it. I know, who was it? Joshua Moe and Oliver Kirby, I believe you collaborated with for the short film. As mentioned, the launch is tonight. Can you give us any, outline of the concept of the short film, or even how you guys came up with the concept for it?
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you? If people send you the same generic conversation starters, they message everyone else. Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
I think it was, the concept of the short film was kind of based on the concept we had regarding the general mini album, and it was kind of like we wanted this almost like a narrative story structure for the album where there's like this sort of initial event or like, okay, something is afoot, something is amiss, and that's Feel Alive, and it builds to the middle of the project with Overstimulated as this kind of like everything's coming to a head, and then from Overstimulated onwards it's kind of like this downward kind of spiraling emotional vibe. And that's just sort of like the aftermath, the reconciliation, the sort of like more, morning after kind of situation of like, okay, so what just actually happened? I need to face the music. And each song we did write about a specific event or a specific thing we were dealing with at the time or had been dealing with. And so the music videos is kind of just a reflection of that, where each kind of video or vignette this short film captures is like this pocket of memory in our minds of a certain situation, of a certain emotion, and of a certain interaction. And so it doesn't necessarily, we didn't want it to be just like, let us tell the story of like a night out or like a particular situation that happened, or just like make it super obvious and like black and white and stuff. It's more, the video kind of captures kind of how each song makes us feel, or like how we see it and explore it in our heads. So, I mean, like when everybody actually gets to see it, I think it'll make a bit more sense. But like, it's not as linear as like just a plain like movie or like a story or just something super, easy to follow. It's more just like a visual exploration of how each song makes us feel. And we're just like, bleh.
Well, I'm very looking forward to seeing it whenever it does become. Is it going to be put onto, after the launch, is it going to be put on online for people to access?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Available on our YouTube channel.
YouTube.com/Cat Calmell.
We'll make sure the links are in the show notes for people to access the YouTube channel so that they can watch it. Speaking of the launch of the film, I believe you're playing some songs as well tomorrow night, just a handful of songs.
We absolutely are.
Yeah, we will be performing some of the songs on the mini album will be performed for the very first time, which, holy cow.
A little bit nervous. We have been practicing and we're like, oh no.
Oh no, what are everyone going to think?
Because we're writing these songs and we're not really having in mind that we're gonna have to sing them in front of people.
Yeah, can we just listen to it like on a speaker or something and not
like on a JBL or like a UE boom or something?
Anyone got a UE boom in here? But yeah, so excited.
Would you ever consider impersonators and you guys can stand at the back and they lip sync?
I'm sure it won't be hard. We can use our little sisters, although, yeah.
Let me circle back to you on that.
Yeah. We'll hold a casting for our doppelgangers. Mm-hmm. Just add that link in the YouTube video.
Auditions also in the show notes for
Got a Google form out there.
Is there a track you're most looking forward to off this mini album to debut live that you're kind of looking forward to seeing, I guess, how it reacts or how crowds respond to it?
I am interested to see how everyone is going to interact with How Do You Feel? Because it's like probably the slowest, most like more like emotional song on there, where it's not like when the chorus hits, everyone's going to be jumping around, which I feel like despite the subject matter, a lot of our other songs, like even though it's dark and it's heavy, we can still groove and we can still have a good time. Mm-hmm. But How Do You Feel is like just actually us kind of just like bearing our soul and being very open and out there. And I'm interested to see if like that is going to connect with everybody else as well. And like, I do love that song with all my heart, and I like really enjoy singing it as well. So I'm interested to see if like we can have that emotional connection with our like audience.
Like everyone phones down. Let's like look at each other in the eye and like
let's
really
just live in the moment,
connected, and like really be vulnerable with
let's
one
just
another.
be here now.
Like everyone phones down. Or we'll be like Lord, we're like shh. Listen to me.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess I can't say I'm going to look forward to footage of that, especially if people are going to be told to put those phones down. So I look forward to hearing how the launch goes. I know that there were some other live dates earlier this year with Mallrat and I think Bible Mummy that you guys went on.
Yeah.
So fun.
How did that tour go?
That was really, really awesome.
And we did perform some of the songs on the mini album that weren't released at the time, and they got great audience feedback. And I think it was a really super awesome way to also like sort of like test run some of the new songs as well, because just assuming that like probably a lot of people there maybe haven't even heard any of our like stuff that is already out. So it's like everything is kind of new to them. So we can just like try things out and we don't have to feel the pressure of like only performing songs people know. And it got like a really good reaction. I think Consumed especially people really enjoyed, because Calmell and I do like a really like intimate and like eye to eye sort of moment.
There's your thumbnail.
Yeah, I've got nothing left after that.
That's just the effect we leave on people. I've noticed.
Speechless.
Can we expect some more shows, I guess, in support of How Do You Feel? Maybe taking the mini album around the country at some point? Who knows?
Who knows?
You tell me.
I think we have like some shows coming up that isn't like a tour, but we're playing our first festival, like in-person festival, because we did unfortunately start putting music out during COVID. So we've done festivals, but it's been virtual, still fun, but like in-person is going to be different. So we're really looking forward to that.
So we're doing Lost Paradise in December, and
That's
then
right.
this month, South by Southwest with the gang.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those live shows, are they full band, South by and Lost Paradise?
We have been doing shows with like just a DJ, and it's been so much fun because I feel like obviously having a full band is super awesome and hectic and slay, but Calmell and I kind of like get comfortable with like having a full band on stage, and then we like have our like kind of safety net, and then we don't feel like as exposed. But then with the Mallrat tour we did with just a DJ, and with these next shows we're doing with just a DJ, and I think it's super fun, especially with these more vulnerable songs where it's just like me and Calmell out there, and we have to be comfortable with like just us holding the stage down without an entire band being there to support us. And I think it's like helped, at least me personally, like build even just like confidence in terms of performing, because I'm like, okay, it can just be me and you on the stage, and we can still kill it, and it can still be a vibe. And it's been super fun because then it kind of gives Calmell and I room to also explore like our interactions and like how we just want to like express the songs to the viewers. So yeah,
100%. I think, what was it? I think my initial introduction to the band through the lovely Mars, was I think a video of you guys all the way back. It was Dumbshit, and it was acoustic version. I think you were both playing, one of you were playing guitar, one playing bass. There was someone else in a video, and there was were there elf ears?
yes, there was.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Going back, but it's interesting to see how the live aspect of the band has progressed and how you guys are able to kind of go in and out of both, which I think is a kind of really good thing because it shows the versatility of your own brand of pop music.
Yeah, fully. And I'm just like so excited to perform more like at the kind of end of this year and next year, and hopefully go to Latin America, go to UK, and just like explore, you know, our different like performance styles. Because like what Kat said, we started releasing music during COVID, so I feel like we haven't had as much of that like advantage as like other artists where they could just perform in like festivals like immediately. So
Just like the live sort of like experience, because I think it's one of those things where you really do just have to do it a lot of times to get the necessary experience to just like feel confident and like be able to put on a good show. And I feel like this year we're really starting to feel more in our element on stage because, yeah, there's just been a lot more opportunities to be able to actually perform live. So it's been awesome.
That is awesome to hear. I want to touch on something, Calmell, you just mentioned very quickly. Is there a plan to, without going into great detail, is there a plan to push into international markets, take yourselves and the DJ on the road? No details, just, just
a little eyebrow raise and a little
I'll tell you this much.
side-to-side look.
I believe we may potentially be going to UK, potentially, maybe, perhaps
maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Either way, we're just like so excited to even meet our overseas fans and supporters, go to Asia. I'd love to like go to Philippines again and like even visit Cat's country.
Love you, China.
Love you, China. Love you, Philippines. And just travel more and like make new music as well with like international producers would be like super fun. But no like set in stone details yet,
Also, just never know what we are and aren't allowed to say. I feel like we're so bad at that. So
for now,
just this.
We will leave it at that. As it's a podcast, I'll put in a description of what the faces were in the text for those people listening.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ladies, we would usually ask the guests what they're currently listening to. Is there anything on high rotation for either of you respectively?
Interesting.
On the top of the dome, I am going to have to look at my Spotify.
I am going to have to pull up my Spotify immediately.
Oh, good.
Actually, okay. For me, probably the first thing that comes to my head is Amare's album, Fountain Baby. I have had that album on repeat because I started pole dancing like a month ago, and that album makes me feel so unbelievably confident, sexy, and awesome. So just naturally, I have had that on repeat, and it is my like, I exclusively listen to that album when I go to pole dancing. And big shout out to Amare for making me a baddie.
Wah, wah.
Calmell, what about yourself?
I'm not going to lie, since it started getting hot, I've been revisiting the old summer classics, summer hits. I did make a playlist recently.
Beautiful.
For my spring 2023, so I can always look back, get those memories flowing in my brain. Mm-hmm. So I've been listening to a lot of like Crowded House, The Cure, Cranberries, classic.
Gorgeous.
Just getting me in the vibe for summer. Mm-hmm. But if it's a gloomy day, I will not be listening to that. I'll be listening to something very sad. Only when the sun's out, the buns are out, and the classics are out.
Love that. Both all very solid choices. So I appreciate you sharing them with us. Cat Calmell, thank you once again for coming onto the podcast. I do appreciate it. Congrats on How Do You Feel. It's out now. The short film launch is out tonight as well. We'll make sure everything's put in the show notes, but we appreciate you coming onto the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
It's been lovely chatting again.
Ready to elevate your everything shower? Meet Osea's new Undaria Algae Body Wash. This pH-balanced plant-based formula gently cleanses without stripping your skin. Featuring the all-natural citrusy fragrance of their best-selling body oil, Undaria Algae Body Wash transports you to a tropical paradise, indulging your skin and senses. It's the scent of summer year-round. Elevate your shower ritual with Osea. Get 10% off your first order with code SEAWEED at OSEAMalibu.com.